Hey there, food lovers! Today we're diving into the wonderful world of ground nuts, also known as peanuts. These little legumes pack a serious nutritional punch. They're full of good fats, protein, and fiber. Plus, they taste amazing, especially when they're freshly roasted. Forget those store-bought bags. We're going to roast them ourselves. Get ready for a crunchy, flavorful treat that's easy to make and even harder to resist. Before we begin our roasting adventure, let's assemble our trusty tools. You won't need anything fancy, I promise. Here's what we'll be using. Raw ground nuts, the stars of our show. Look for ground nuts in their shells. We'll talk about picking the best ones in a bit. A large, heavy-bottomed pan. This will ensure even heating and prevent our precious nuts from burning. Cast iron or stainless steel work great. A wooden spoon, our trusty sidekick for stirring and ensuring every peanut gets its time in the spotlight. Salt, optional. A pinch of salt enhances the natural sweetness of the ground nuts. Water, optional. For a quick soak to plump up the ground nuts and enhance their flavor. Not all ground nuts are created equal, my friends. Selecting the freshest ones is key to unlocking maximum flavor. Here's how to choose like a pro. Look for clean, unbroken shells with a uniform light brown color. Avoid any with cracks, dark spots, or a shriveled appearance. Feel for ground nuts that feel heavy for their size. Give them a gentle shake. You shouldn't hear any rattling inside. Trust your nose. Fresh ground nuts have a pleasant earthy aroma. Avoid any that smell musty or rancid. Now here's an optional step for those who like to add an extra layer of flavor. Soaking the ground nuts in salted water before roasting helps to season them from the inside out. Don't worry, it's a simple process. Prepare the brine. In a large bowl, dissolve about a tablespoon of salt in enough water to cover the ground nuts. Soak and relax. Add the ground nuts to the brine and let them soak for about 30 minutes. This will give them a chance to absorb some of the salty goodness. Drain and pat dry. After soaking, drain the ground nuts thoroughly and pat them dry with a clean kitchen towel. The art of the preheat, priming your pan. While our ground nuts are enjoying their optional spa treatment or just hanging out if you skip the soak, let's prepare our trusty pan. Medium heat is key. Place your heavy-bottomed pan over medium heat. We want the pan to be nice and hot before our ground nuts take the stage. To check if the pan is hot enough, sprinkle a few drops of water on its surface. If the water sizzles and evaporates almost immediately, you're good to go. The roasting ritual transforming humble nuts into crunchy delights. Now comes the main event, time to transform those humble ground nuts into crunchy, flavorful delights. This is where the magic happens. Carefully add the ground nuts to the preheated pan, making sure they're spread out in a single layer. Keep them moving. Roast the ground nuts, stirring frequently with your wooden spoon. This ensures even browning and prevents burning. Listen closely. As the ground nuts roast, you'll start to hear them crackle and pop. This is a good sign. It means they're shedding their moisture and developing flavor. The sound of success, recognizing perfectly roasted ground nuts. Knowing when your ground nuts are perfectly roasted is a matter of senses, sight, smell, and sound. Visually, the shells will deepen in color to a rich brown, and you might even see some oil glistening on their surface. The toasty aroma will fill the air with an irresistible, nutty scent that will make your mouth water. The crackling sound will intensify and then subside slightly, signaling that the ground nuts are approaching peak deliciousness. The cooling embrace, preserving crunch and flavor, we're almost there. Once the ground nuts are roasted to perfection, it's time to cool them down and lock in that irresistible crunch. Carefully transfer the hot ground nuts to a large plate or a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Spreading them out helps them cool evenly. Let the ground nuts cool completely before storing. This prevents trapped moisture from making them soggy. Flavoring adventures, exploring a world of taste. While plain roasted ground nuts are undeniably delicious, why stop there? Let's explore a world of flavor possibilities. Sprinkle with chili powder, cayenne pepper, or your favorite spice blend for a fiery kick. Toss with a mixture of brown sugar, cinnamon, and a pinch of salt for a sweet and savory treat. Experiment with dried herbs like rosemary, thyme, or oregano for an earthy and aromatic twist. Storing your bounty. Enjoying freshly roasted goodness. Congratulations, my friends, you've successfully roasted your very own ground nuts. Now let's ensure they stay fresh and crunchy. Store the cooled ground nuts in an airtight container to prevent them from absorbing moisture and unwanted flavors. A cool, dark place like your pantry is ideal for storing roasted ground nuts. For optimal freshness and flavor, try to enjoy your homemade roasted ground nuts within a week. So there you have it, the art of roasting ground nuts at home. It's a simple pleasure that yields delicious rewards. So, gather your ingredients, embrace the process, and enjoy the crunchy, flavorful goodness of homemade roasted ground nuts. Happy roasting!